Welcome back to Cure Depression with Ray, where I teach you how to permanently cure your depression without using medication. I developed this method based on my personal experience of curing myself from depression. In this video, we'll be covering the second step of this process, which is understanding and developing your mind, which will be the main tool that we'll use in this method. If you are new to this channel and haven't seen this method before, please check out the first video where I give an overview of the method and then come back to this video. Link in the description. To recap the overview of this method, you have to find out who you really are at an existential level. So to do that, first we have to adopt some guiding principles, and then we need to understand and develop our mind, which will be the main tool for this method, and then investigate who you really are. So in this video, we will discuss the different parts of your mind, and I'll teach you practices to help develop each part. First, let's understand your mind. There are two parts of the mind, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Everyone has both parts, but in different proportions. So for some people, their conscious mind is stronger. For others, their subconscious mind is stronger. For others, their conscious mind and their subconscious mind are equally strong. The important part is to understand your own mind. Once you understand how your mind works, then you can work on developing it in the most suitable way. Let's get into the details of the conscious mind first. So the conscious mind is what you actively use to think. It's related to IQ and logical reasoning. It's like going from A to B to C to D to E. You can see the train of thought and how you got to the answer. The conscious mind is really powerful because you can review your thought process. This gives you certainty about your answer. However, the limits of the conscious mind is that it requires every link in the logic chain. If one necessary piece of information is missing, then you get stuck, you can't proceed. To use your conscious mind well, you also need strong mental focus to complete the train of thought. Moving on to details of the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is thinking that happens passively in the background without your active participation. It's related to EQ, intuition, sixth sense, gut feeling, and the ability to read people's emotions from their facial expressions. The subconscious mind is really powerful because you can bypass gaps in the logic chain. You can go from A straight to E, bypassing B, C, and D. Basically, your experience of your subconscious mind is that you suddenly get the answer without knowing how you got the answer. Some people consider it magical or supernatural. That's why they call it sixth sense. However, there is some logic to the subconscious mind. Every bit of information that you acquire through your five sense organs is stored somewhere in your memory, even if you can't actively recall it. Your subconscious mind has access to this memory. So what your subconscious mind does is that it draws on these data points in your memory to form conclusions. So let's say you're missing a piece of information that's required for a particular logic chain. What your subconscious mind will do is that it will look at various data points that are somewhat related to that missing piece of information and estimate what that missing data point would be. Your subconscious mind is also able to look at information in a completely different setting to what you are trying to think of, and to work out a relationship, like an analogy, and to apply that relationship back to the original question to derive an answer. There's nothing magical or supernatural about this. Such systems exist in computing as well. They're called black box systems. An example of such a system is ChatGPT. The biggest weakness of the subconscious mind is that it only gives you the final answer without telling you how it got to that answer. Therefore, the only way to tell whether that answer is trustworthy is through personal experience. You need experience to know whether you can trust your subconscious mind. To use your subconscious mind well, you also need the ability to suppress your conscious mind. This will allow the outputs of your subconscious mind to come true. Because the conscious mind works in the foreground, whereas your subconscious mind works in the background, often the outputs of your conscious mind will drown out the outputs of your subconscious mind. This is why sometimes when you're thinking really hard about a question and the answer just doesn't come through, but then when you go and take a nice relaxing bath, suddenly you get an inspiration and you get the answer. So when you're having that bath and you're relaxing, you've suppressed your conscious mind, and that's why the answer is able to come true from your subconscious mind. Now let's move on to practices to sharpen your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. I've explored many different practices, and these are the ones that I found work best for me. But you're welcome to try others. I'll list out the different aspects that need to be worked on and the corresponding practices. If you find another practice that you think works, then go for it. For the conscious mind, we need to train, first, the sense of logical reasoning. This means if you have point A, then it implies point B. If you have point B, then it implies point C, and so on and so forth. Second, you need to develop strong mental focus to be able to follow the train of thought to its conclusion. And third, you need to understand deeply the limitations of the conscious mind. To train all three of these aspects, I highly recommend playing the game Minesweeper. For this video, I'll just cover the basics of how to play this game. In a future video, I'll go through details of the specific lessons to learn from that game. If you don't have Minesweeper on your computer or your device, you can easily find a browser version on the internet. Here's the one that I use. So this is Minesweeper. First of all, you should change some of the options. So go to Game and change from Intermediate mode to Expert mode. Expert gives you more playing field and more mines to unravel. Next, go to Options and untick question mark. So in Minesweeper, each square could be a mine or not a mine. The objective of the game is to identify all the squares that are mines and not accidentally click any of them. So let's start by clicking any square. So this will open up a whole bunch of space for you to begin with. Now the way Minesweeper works is the numbers represent the number of mines that are in the squares immediately surrounding that particular square. So for example, this number 3 here says that there are 3 mines in all the squares surrounding this 3. So 1, it could be here, 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 or here. Now, because this have already opened up and they are clearly not mines, and there are 3 mines left, and so happen that there are 3 unopened squares. So these 3 definitely must be mines. Now, you can flag a mine by right-clicking on it, and you open up a square by left-clicking on it. If you accidentally flag a square which is not a mine as a mine, you can right-click it again to unflag it. Just based on this number 3, we know that these 3 squares that are unopened are definitely mines. You can also counter-check that by looking at the 2 here. So this 2 here says that there are 2 mines immediately next to this number 2. Now the only unopened squares left are this square here and this square here, which is touching this number 2. And the same for this number 2. 1, 2. Now let's take this square here to start with. Okay. So it says 1 mine, 1 mine, 1 mine, 1 mine. So this square here definitely must be a mine. Now, after you flag a mine, you can click on a square, a number, to open up the immediate surrounding squares that are unopened if you've already flagged the necessary number of mines. So for example, this one here, because I've already flagged 1 mine next to it, so if I click on this 1 now, it will open up this square here, like that. And okay, let's look at this 1 here. So it says there's 1 mine, and this unopened square is the only unopened square left that's touching this number 1. So this must be a mine, flagged here. And with this 2 here, or this 2, these are the 2 only unopened squares, so this one here definitely must be a mine as well. Okay. Now, if you left click on this 2 here, because you've already flagged one mine here and one mine here, this will open up this square. So you left click here. And because touching this tree is 1, 2, and 3 mines, it fulfills all the conditions. So when you left click on this tree, it will open up this square and this square. If you accidentally wrongly flagged a mine, so let's say I wrongly flagged 3 different squares for this tree, and then when I click on the tree, it opens up the other squares that are not flagged. If those unflagged squares were mines, then you lose the game and you have to start all over again. Okay. So with this 2 here, you got 1 here, and the only other square that's touching this 2 which is unopened is this one. So this definitely must be a mine. And you can double check that because this 1 here also confirms that this is definitely a mine. And now when you can open up the square, now you've completed this section. Now what you have to do is complete all the other sections, and then when you flag up all the mines, then you win the game. Now there are lots of different logical tricks that you can use to identify where it's a mine and where it's not a mine, but I'll cover that in another video. For now, these are just the basics. So now I'll just quickly finish up this game for you to see what it looks like. One, two, three, four, five, six. That was lucky. And now we're stuck, so we have to guess. That was lucky again. Unlucky. So this also shows the limitations of the conscious mind or logic. Sometimes you get stuck when you don't have a clue to proceed. I'll try and show you a complete game. That was lucky. Done. That's it. Don't worry about the time. And in terms of how good you should become, if you can consistently win expert, then that's pretty much good enough for our method of curing depression. Moving on to practices to sharpen your subconscious mind. First of all, you need to accumulate all sorts of information about a wide variety of topics. The wider the better. So the best way to do this is to read widely, watch all sorts of videos, talk to lots of different people, and go through lots of life experiences. Even reading or watching fiction is useful because at the very least it tells you something about a person's thought process. Second, you need to develop some control over your conscious mind so that you're able to suppress and keep your conscious mind quiet. And the best way to do this is to practice meditation. I'll teach you a simple meditation practice, but you can use any that you prefer. Doesn't really matter. After you practice meditation for a while, you'll be able to keep your conscious mind quiet when you're not actively thinking of something. And that will allow your subconscious mind to come through. And then it won't drown out your subconscious mind. And third, you need to continually assess the trustworthiness of the outputs of your subconscious mind. As you work on aspects number 1 and number 2, the trustworthiness of your subconscious mind will surely improve. One way to test the trustworthiness of your subconscious mind is to do some online tests where you have to match a facial expression with an emotion. Here's an example of such a test. So here's a simple meditation process. Sit with your legs crossed like this. Place your hands on your knees with your palms facing upwards. Sit with your back straight. Lift your head so that you're facing slightly upwards like this. Close your eyes and focus on the point between your eyebrows. Make sure to maintain this posture and focus between your eyebrows for the entire duration of this meditation. Now start breathing in and breathing out slowly. Slowly inhale and slowly exhale at the same speed. Keep doing this breathing in and breathing out for the next 7-8 minutes. After that, when you're feeling quite relaxed, breathe in like normal. And when you're breathing out, exhale and you say, ah. So it's like, ah. And make sure the sound comes from your diaphragm rather than your throat. The important part is the vibration throughout your body caused by the sound. So repeat this step of inhaling and saying ah as you exhale for 7 times. After that, continue breathing in and breathing out quietly again for another 4 to 5 minutes. So that's the physical part of this meditation practice. Now, mentally, while you're meditating like this, what you need to do is that you need to let the mind be still. Not try to control it and make it not think. Just be natural about it. Thoughts will come. When they come, acknowledge them and then let them go. More thoughts will come. Acknowledge them. Hello. And then let them go. Goodbye. And even more thoughts will come. Now, as long as you don't engage with the thought and entertain it further, it won't spiral. It'll just come and go. Come and go. And eventually, it'll come slower and slower and slower and less thoughts will come. Eventually, no thoughts will come. That's when your mind's completely still. Now, the mistake most people make is that they focus on the thought. Don't think, don't think, don't think. However, that is a thought by itself. And the more you do that, the more thoughts that you will get. And you get so frustrated with yourself. So the trick is let thoughts come and send them on their way. Let them go. Don't let it stick to you. Now, meditation is a practice, so the more you do it, the better you become at it. It's like training. So I recommend you do this once or twice a day. Twice if you want faster results. And as you keep practicing, you'll be able to retain this stillness of the mind even in your normal everyday life when you're not in the process of meditating. So, to summarize this video, we've covered the two parts of your mind, which are your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is related to logical reasoning, and it is what you actively use to think. The subconscious mind is related to EQ and intuition, and it works in the background passively. The important thing is to understand yourself, whether your conscious mind is stronger, or your subconscious mind is stronger, or you're equally strong in your subconscious mind and your conscious mind. To successfully use my method of curing depression permanently without medication, it's really important for you to sharpen your mind. And in this video, I've shared my recommendations for practices to sharpen your mind. In the next video, we'll start the exploration of finding out who you really are at an existential level. And when you find the answer, that will be the end of your depression. So please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. See you next time.